Hi, I'm John Byrne with Poets and Quants. Welcome to another Fridays with Sandy Kreisberg in Boston. Hi, Sandy.
Sandy Kreisberg here. We've got a great candidate. I'll let him introduce himself. Andrew, take it away.
Hi, everybody. My name is Andrew Bradley, mechanical engineer from Texas A&M. And since then, I've worked at Shell as a reliability engineer, and now most recently Lime, a unicorn startup based in San Francisco, as a product manager for trust and safety.
Yeah. Andrew has some ambitious goals. His stretch targets, Harvard, MIT Sloan, his target school, Duke Fuqua, and maybe his safeties, UT Austin and Rice University in Houston.
That's all the good news. Okay?
That's the good news.
Yeah,
Get the bad news, Sandy.
Get the bad news. Double-barreled bad news here. We got a 3.4 GPA, which is pretty darn low.
But in mechanical engineering, a difficult subject.
Good point. And 700 GMAT, which despite our beloved leader, Dee Leopold, saying that she doesn't care about a GMAT as long as it starts with a 7. I don't fully agree with that. I think you're going to ask people to blink twice.
Yeah, but he's working for a cool startup that now operates in 25 countries all over the world. He had a legitimate great job as a reliability engineer at Shell, a major company that doesn't sends a bunch of people to elite schools, but not a lot. Besides, he's a volunteer firefighter, which very few MBA applicants could claim.
Yeah, and an Eagle Scout,
and a cancer survivor.
Are you active? Let's deal with the cancer survivor thing, and I want to handle this diplomatically. I find it an interesting question. Let me turn this over to my hierarchical superior here, John. What does that get you in front of an AdCom that you're a cancer survivor?
Well, it may get you an incredibly compelling story, and I would imagine that if you survive cancer, you learn a lot from that experience. And I think I would love to know, what Andrew learned and what he had to go through to be a survivor, and how what he learned is transferable to his overall life, personal and professional.
Okay, Andrew, that's the challenge. You don't have to take it on a public forum here, but that's, if you want to, I'm not going to say play that card, but if you want to, use that as part of your application, that's what you're going to have to do. Okay.
Absolutely.
I'm not sure how it plays out. Could you tell us more about Lime? Like here's the story. You've got a great background here. You work for Shell. Shell is a great place to come out of. Then you go from working from, big bad Shell to Lime, which is a hip new company. So what does Lime do?
Sure. So Lime is an electric vehicle startup based in San Francisco. I'm sorry, there was a little bit of an echo there. And we operate in over 25 countries, and our goal is to bridge the last mile transportation barrier. So as you can imagine, in many dense urban environments, there's public transportation to get you into the heart of the city. And generally there's about 1 to 2 miles to get you to your final destination, whether that's work or a restaurant.
So how do you do that? What are your vehicles?
Sure. So typically we have dockless vehicles in the city set up around public transportation and hotspots around the city. And you can walk up, scan the scooter or bike on its QR code and take it wherever you'd like to go. And then when you're done with the trip, you just lock it and leave it on the street.
Good.
Now, Sandy, the cool name for this is micro-mobility. What do you think of that?
Is that the term of art, or is that your own invention, Andrew?
So the industry is slowly starting to adopt that name, but we did create it.
Yeah. Well, I don't think much of it, but far be it for me to argue.
And now, Andrew, I know your title is product manager for trust and safety. What does that really mean?
Sure. So we try to earn the trust of every city that we operate in. Now it's over 100 cities around the world. And we do that by guaranteeing the safety of our rider, or attempting to guarantee the safety of our riders.
Good. Okay.
Is that particularly challenging?
It's extremely challenging, especially these vehicles. They're not as safe as you would imagine. That they're never going to be as safe.
You're super
as
safe
cars
with
or
us
planes.
there, yeah.
Well, hey, every time Sandy gets on a bike, I cross my fingers.
Yeah, let's deal with, this is interesting. Do you interface with the city people?
Absolutely. So I interface with everyone from governments, regulators, and manufacturers,
Yeah, okay,
safety standard institutions.
that's what business schools are interested in, okay?
Mhm.
Because you're that's the kind of, you're negotiating, you're dealing with people whose interests are not clearly aligned with yours, yada, yada, yada. So that's something worth. Correct.
And I imagine that at least initially, some of them are quite skeptical.
Absolutely. And that's one of the biggest barriers to expanding is governments being skeptical of the safety of their citizens. And so that's what we're trying to help build out through rider education, through incident response, things like that.
So it's an interesting job because it's very people oriented, and you're often dealing with people who are probably much older than you, who are frankly bureaucrats. So here is, this hot, quick growing company that's really having to negotiate and navigate through bureaucracy, city after city.
We're trying our best to empathize with the cities. One of the biggest things we can offer them is that we're helping reduce congestion. For every couple scooters that we put on the road, that's reducing cars on their streets and reducing traffic, pollution, things like that.
Good. Okay. John, what does it take for a white male with a 3.4 and 700 to get into Harvard? Or
well, as Stanford, forget about Stanford, because Stanford is it's 5%, and it's a self-selecting pool, and it's really, really hard. Although,
what about Harvard and MIT?
Yeah.
We're ready for government.
Well, here's the thing. I think Andrew has a great job, and I think these other little things about him. He's incredibly articulate. He has professional presence. He is half Costa Rican. He's a volunteer firefighter. He's a career cancer survivor. I think that some of that overrides the 3.4 and a difficult subject of mechanical engineering. The 700, obviously, you could give him tough love and say, "Hey, get a 730," and it could make a.
Well, would you give him tough love
for you at Harvard and MIT? Yeah.
Have you taken the
I hate that test. I hate it, and I hate all that it means. But damn it, these schools put too much importance on it. But there you go.
Yeah. How many times have you taken the GMAT?
I've only taken it once, and that's because I also hate that test, just like John.
Yeah, but you're a mechanical engineer, and because you're an engineer, you might be expected to get better than a 700. Well,
yeah, he's got 90% on the verbal and 72% on the quant. I'm in the tough love business, man. If you got a 730, I think your chances. I don't think you're getting into Harvard.
What about with a 730?
With a 730, you might be like a reach, like a reach. White male, depending on, a lot of balls in the air. Depending on how you could build a Hispanic case. If you have if you're Hispanic, if you have a lot of engagement with that community, then you've got the Hispanic card, forgive me, and then you've got the STEM background, and then a 730, which is something that's fine for those schools. And then
and background in a very big selective company like Shell, it doesn't.
And an interesting story.
Yeah, and a startup as well. Well, unicorn startup, basically.
Yeah. 730, I don't think you're getting into Harvard now. I think you're an interesting case where 730 could make a difference.
What about MIT? He's got that engineering thing going on here.
MIT might go for this guy. 730 would. MIT are also, I I'm not going to say that word, but they're focused very hard on the MIT also focuses on the GMATs more than they let on. Yeah, so they're GMAT liars. So, man, tough love of 7:30 might make a difference there.
Okay, now what about a target school is Duke Fuqua? Great school.
I
great
think
alumni.
this guy, boy, Duke ain't that hard to get into. I think you're real solid at Duke, and you're an interesting story.
So what are his odds at Duke?
Current stat, 30-40%.
That's pretty good.
Yeah.
And then UT and Rice. UT and Rice is safety schools.
I expect you should get in there, particularly where you're located now.
I actually work remote from Houston, but our headquarters is in San Francisco.
Okay, so that's good. So if you could make a case that you want to go there, you want to stay in the South, blah, blah, blah. UT and Rice, you should get into.
Now, you know why Sandy just said that, right? Sandy said that because he thinks your numbers and your story is way above average for UT and Rice. And so they'll be less convinced you want to actually go there, that you're treating them as a safety school. And you got to just let them know that they have a good shot at getting you if they accept you.
Something like that. I don't think the guy's numbers are way above UT and Rice.
But they're in the pocket for sure.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Good. So UT and so anyway.
Okay, now his goal, Sandy, is McKinsey, Bain, BCG, which is good because obviously those three companies recruit more MBAs than any other three companies in the world.
Yeah, that's just more in line of regular Hispanic guy. Okay.
And they'll like your background a lot.
Yeah, and so will McKinsey, so will those consulting companies.
Yeah. So the question is, are there other schools that he should consider to get to MBB?
Question is, let me throw it back to you. What's between MIT and Cornell, John?
I'm going to tell you, he should apply to Kellogg.
Yeah, good.
Because I think he would do really well at Kellogg.
Yeah, you're a Kellogg kind of guy.
He's got great interpersonal skills. He has a fascinating background. MBB loves Kellogg people because they tend to have much higher interpersonal skills than many of the other schools because they interview everyone and they really get a sense for your professional presence and how articulate you are. And I think you really should toss a Kellogg app.
Yeah, that's a good suggestion.
Another possibility, UVA Darden, which is another big consulting school. You know, McKinsey's number one recruiter. Their dean is a former senior partner at McKinsey. It's a great program. It's all case study. I think you benefit greatly from it. But Sandy, I think you and I both like Andrew. We you know, right?
Yeah, you're a likable guy. This 3, 4, and 700 is not very likable for these schools. I'm here to tell you the truth. Okay.
That's
so here's
tough
the
love.
thing. People who take the GMAT the second time,
it goes up naturally.
On average, score 30 points higher. Now they tend to, when they do take it, they tend to have scored lower than you did on the first shot. So your improvement may not be 30, but maybe it's 20. But even 720 would be helpful to you.
Let me finish with my unabated cynicism. Even more so, 720, even 720 versus 700 at MIT could make a difference, despite the fact.
And in Kellogg
forever.
In Kellogg.
Yeah, and it would help at Kellogg where they'd like you, and you just walk the extra mile.
Kellogg is going to love Andrew. They'll love you. Honest to God, I know this for a fact. So
good.
Hey, Andrew. Good luck to you. You're going to apply. Are you in this current cycle or next one?
Correct. Most of my apps are about 90% done, so I'll be applying for round 2 this cycle.
Great. How old are you?
I'm 25.
Perfect.
It's in the money.
Because you have another shot. In other words, if you don't like what you get, so you go at it again next year.
Yeah, good point.
Right?
Yeah.
Good.
Absolutely.
All right. Well, Sandy, thanks yet again. Andrew, good luck to you. We're rooting for you. We like you. We know you're going to get in because as soon as people, admissions meet you, they're going to love you.
Yeah.
And for all of you out there, good luck on your journey to business school. Sandy, we'll see you next Friday.
Okay.